case, he's a right-handed player, so Hizikite is being killed by her sleeve here. And he's saying, while many people cut, what he wants to do is re-grip. Even if he cannot grip the gi, just place a hand. If you can grip. Even if you cannot grip, just use your palm against your opponent's hand and just push down, reverse pressure. If you're going to cut, what he does, you see, you have to use your elbow and push your elbow towards your opponent's wrist so that it reduces the space on the gi and mix pressure. So very difficult for her to hold right now. Then he can either cut or with her weakened position, re-grip. So use the elbow and re-grip. If he has lead in a match, and he then gets, he gets a lead in this grip, he's beating the opponent on the grip. Now she wants to re-grip and do something. He uses his hand position to make it impossible for her to get the grip. Okay, so the functional. Okay, so what we're gonna do is he's gonna let you have some chance to walk around so you have a feel of it, so that when you teach your kids, if you want to teach them like this, you have an idea of what the kind of judo he does. So first situation going to be right against right or left against left, ayotsu, okay, and then opponent took your sleeve and preventing you from grip here, so right down there. So he wants to continue forward, and grab anything. Okay, so forward, grab anything, and to continue working your hand up. Okay, let's all get a partner and try that.
Thank you.
So he's explaining for his particular situation, most people right on right, because he's righty, most people right on right come with the right stance. But if he knows this person takes top back grip, then he comes with opposite stance. Because when they come on the top, he blocks like this. So even though he's righty, he comes with the left stance when he knows it's a right-handed player coming on top. So if he knows this person is a top right player, he can grip here very easily. But he doesn't, he wait. He want to control this hand first. So he block and try to grip this hand first. If he takes this grip first, down here, he takes this grip, then she can control that side and come back on top to the right. He doesn't want that to occur. So you can see now he's with his left hand gripping on the lapel, just preventing her gripping the top back. Then when the grip there, then he transfer his hand to the sleeve. See, she cannot grip to the back. Transfer to sleeve, then bring down. Okay, now if they got the grip and they're pulling like this, okay? Remember standing up, right? Bracing, standing up.
これで相手のその引き付けを防ぐこと。
Then you can, block against the person who's pulling, just blocking against that, and put pressure on them.
で、このスペースができたら、
Then once you get the create space on this side, then regrip, transfer and regrip. Okay, so everybody understand right against right. His style is coming with the left foot forward to block the top right. If they get it, then to stand up, brace, stand up, put pressure forward. Okay, so let's all get together and then we'll.
もしこれで、引き手が負けて掴むことができない。
So see, now this is a position where she's got the grip on the sleeve, not allowing him to grip.
今日はもう
Pushing the hand against the wrist.
これでその少しの間は相手の引き手を殺すことが。
You can then control their hand just a little while doing this.
このままで相手の引き手が自由に。
If you leave it like this, of course, they have total control of your arm. They can attack, you cannot, right?
これを少しだけ押さえることで相手の引き手を殺して、
So you kill their arm like that.
でその次にもうチャンスがあれば取ってもいいし、
If you can, you take the grip.
もしチャンスがなければこれで。
If you don't have a chance, come up either to cut or to regroup from that position. Huh?
この時できるだけ釣り手はしっかり、この場合いつも手首を。
And at this point, what he's trying to say is that when he's doing this stuff on this hand, he's controlling her body by using his right hand and his wrist against her body over here, pushing the, keeping the pressure on
相手のこの
against collarbone. So make them feel really good right here. You know that. We know that one.
これだけでも距離が取れるし、これができるとよくヨーロッパの選手とやるとき、こう来る時でも。
So a lot of European players do this kind of gripping.
これでもこのままだとこう引きつけられて、これでもう終わりですね。
Then if you got a player who knows what they're doing here and they crunch you down, you're in bad shape, right? You're in bad shape.
ここに行くまでに例えばこうまだもう引きつけられたらもう多分遅すぎる。
Yeah, you don't want to wait until you're stuck there. You have to do something before you get that there.
引きつけられる前に
Using that same motion against collarbone area with his right hand, with his tsuite, to stand up, get the distance.
もしもこうなったときはまず肩を
If he gets stuck there, then he releases his shoulder that way. Make space first.
まずここから肩だけ抜いて
Take out the shoulder, make space. And then punch out.
でもここで怖くてこう下がったらも
If you go defensive here and just retreat, you're going to get your ass kicked. He said that in Japanese. He said, ass kick des.
うなるべくこういうスタイルの選手やるときはもうこの時点でここを組んだ時点でもう次こっち来るのは予測できるからこうなった時点でしっかり手首を対して。
So what he's saying is that once this person comes, when this person comes, before they get this grip, you know, when players that do this grip, they get this sleeve first, right? They come here and then get like that. So once she does this, he knows she's going to come there. So then he starts pushing out so it doesn't get caught. Exactly.
ここを取られた時点で
Yeah. Once she comes here with this hand, before she can get that, he starts pushing out.
だから、この時に相手がここを取った時にこうなってたらもう相手は取りやすいんでここを取
Take off the left hand.
ここを取った時点で
So because he knows if she takes this hand and he's down like this, he's going to get crunched. So once she takes this hand, take this hand, he does that so that and punches out so that she cannot grab the back
この肘を
using an elbow.
これでこれをしたら相手は
Then cannot get back and punch him. So let's go for the first one where right against left, she's got this sleeve, she's got your hand, you're controlling like that, and putting the pressure. If you can grip, that's fine. If you cannot grip, coming up to rip, either ripping from there or re-gripping from there. Okay, let's try that.
指導者
Okay, don't do the type of judo where you're always cutting away. No matter what the situation is, always grip and learn to, from whatever grip it is, learn to throw ippon from there.
その練習の時にこう
すいなぎ。
Yeah, he wanted to just give you his understanding of the important points of seoinage for him. Okay? So again, this is his seoinage, okay? He's very conscious of textbook seoinage that we all read about, but his version of seoinage. And I asked him, let's see your version of seoinage. Okay?
まず、私の背負い投げはすごい低く膝がつく背負い投げです。
His seoinage is the type where his knees touch the ground. But I want to make a point, you notice his knees may touch, but he comes up. And a big problem with a lot of our players, right? They drop and they leave there, and especially when they're kids, they learn that and they don't learn to come up, and then that's all they got. So it works when they're kids, but it doesn't work when they're, you see how he comes up each time?
でまず入るときはあんまりこう後ろに下がりながらの背負い投げっていうのはやります。
So he doesn't do that type of seoinage where going backwards very much.
で相手に前に出ながら
He does a seoinage where you see he's coming forward, putting pressure on, just like his father said, keep gripping and putting pressure going forward.
まあ、タイミングを見て、利き手をこの前に引くっていうのはあんまり意識はしてます。
So his left hand, he doesn't think so much about pulling so hard and strongly.
強く引こうと思ったら、やっぱり体がどうも
If you think about pulling really strongly, then your whole body have to turn and your head have to turn.
自分の背負い投げは中に入って小さく中に。
His seoinage, he's thinking to just create the space and go inside, not to pull them way forward.
頭が前に行くんじゃなくて中に。
So his head tried to not go that way, but come inside here, like that. his right hand, you see, and this is a point a lot of good serenade people do, flip out first, then come in. Watch his right. Watch his right. You see it come out and come back in? A lot of good serenade players do this.
手首を小指を巻くように。
So then this right hand, his tsurite on the right side, try to wrap his hand like that.
で、巻いて巻きを。
So get this position like this.
こうはこうではなくて。
So a lot of sick people do serenade elbow up like this. His is just on the side and wrapping forward. So I asked him, why, I mean, I have my own answer, but I asked him, why you flip your hand like that before you can say language? Because good players do that. You free it up like that. So his answer is,
一つは、これが相手のその意識を一つっていう。
yeah, so one reason he thinks he does it is because then the other players start to put focus there when the hand does that.
このオーストガリとかにしてもこのままこう入るんじゃなくて、
It's even, so we're going to do Ostogari later. Even he does Ostogari, flip his hand first, then he's coming in. Yeah, well that's the other, the physics. You see, action reaction is the other answer, right?
これがあれば。
So he Kochigari, you know. So all kind of technique he goes from there. So you're having a point for that. He does it there, he will push it, you will not be able to. So now we're talking even your foot goes on, knees on the ground, his toes are up, like that, you see that? Yeah, if you do that, then you're not going to be coming up, right? Always toes up.
で引き手、釣り手は力入れません。
So his right side, his tsurite, he try not to put power in it. Just relax.
で最後だけこの瞬間。
And only at the end, he's wrapped his right hand.
この入るまではもう本当に。
Yeah, until that point, he don't have any power in his right side. Just get inside. Once they're going, then he wrap. Okay, so right against right, this is the 3 points that he made. He goes in low, maybe on the knees, but even on the knees, you have to keep toes up to come up. Left hand, not a big pull, just make a space so that your body can come, his body. So for his particular sake, I mean, he remembers all the basic things about speed and entry and whatnot. But for his serenage, what he try to keep in mind a lot is for his right shoulder to come past his left shoulder.
それしてるのをみんな見ててもこう
A lot of people do, he watches a lot of people do seoinage uchikomi and ends up kind of like this.
これはもう手首もこうなってるし
Their hand is back, basically shoulder is dead. Yeah.
これが相手の肘のこの脇この下にでしっかり体が回ってれば
If you put your right hand, his right hand underneath, and continue to turn completely, that will not occur, he says.
ちゃんと回れば絶対にこっちが前に
If you turn around completely, the right side have to come forward.
こうなった時はこうはいけないですから
If you get caught back there, of course, it's impossible to turn from there after that, right?
手首が
So he tried to bring his right hand, turn and bring his shoulder forward.
普段の練習の時よりも多少来ても大きめになるように
So, and the other thing he tried to keep in mind is when he does uchikomi, his left hand, the pulling hand, try to do pulling a little bit bigger than normal. So he a little exaggerated his action on the left side.
その時は大きく速く
So the things he tried to keep in mind is when he does uchikomi, make big motions and fast motion. So you can see his motion is big, right? And then develop the speed. And one thing also I want to mention is distance between him and the partner. You see the distance? See the distance he has on the first step? Where he is in relation to her? So she would be here, she's standing here, his first step is way out here. And I think that a lot of problem for a lot of instruction for seoinage and a lot of other technique is they just go, they throw themselves way inside there. This is a kind of problem. Because even the form is nice, they're not breaking the balance, the technique's not going to work. But this happens a lot with kids, I think. So if you watch him, he's out there, he doesn't think about it because he just does it naturally. But he's out there creating this space, and he forces that person to come back across. And I think with the kids, sometimes we just let them go and then they just go in and out. They may do the form, but the technique is not going to work very well. And we have to remind them to come out. The problem is, then it's dangerous, right? Because, not dangerous in the sense of safety, but they have difficulty to, because they get off balance, and they might get thrown. So until they get the confidence, it takes a long time to get like that. But if you watch his, say, like the distance, and then the size and the speed, but the position is very important, I think. Something to do. Just the distance, watch again. So his position is kind of built in, he doesn't even think about it. Okay, so remember, uchikomi points, little bigger motion on the left side, relaxing the right, coming in, but bringing that right shoulder forward in front of the left shoulder is his points. Okay, and then the point I'm adding to you is watching the spacing so that the position is coming, position is occurring in the throw. Okay, okay, let's try that. About the gripping, because he and I both noticing this gripping about your tsurite or people tsurite, and especially with a lot of kids, they grip low. They grip low down here, and then they're doing the seoinage, uchikomi, and practice from here.
自分はここ普通の手がこの辺り
He preferred around this level for the gripping.
例えば上を持ちすぎたら多分ここが
If you grip too high, of course you can't wrap, right? So we're going to say that.
これが低い位置だと多分上よりは入りやすい
Gripping down there, you could do the seoinage motion. In fact, some people do the seoinage from there, right?
こをここを持てば相手背負い投げの一番大事なのは相手を前に
Yeah, he's saying that the important thing for seoinage is to make your opponent go kind of lunge forward. You know, if you see it from this way, she has this point where she goes like that onto it, right?
それは一つは引き手
The reason why it's happening is because one reason is because of his left hand.
もう一つはやっぱり釣り手で
But the other reason is because his right hand is dragging her down this way.
でこれが低い位置を持つと
If you do it from down there, you can't drag that body down. You can get in, and a lot of kids do that, right? A lot of kids do the seoinage down there. Sometimes they're lazy, sometimes we forget. But he uses that right hand to draw her body forward. Okay, so we just wanted to mention that because we saw some people coming down here low. So why don't you again continue with your partner, get his teach the seoinage correctly. I think some of these points are true for all types of seoinage, not only his. Okay, so we're just picking up some points as we're going along and seeing people do this. First one has to do with the motion of the left hand.
ですが時に
When you pull, his point is you have to turn the wrist. Turn the wrist and pull like this.
自分の手の甲が見える
Yeah, so you can see this side of your hand.
やっぱりまだこうちょっと
A lot of people, is pulling like this without turning the wrist. So one of the important teaching point, I think, is turning the wrist.
Look at your watch.
The second point,
あとはこのさっきこっちが前に来るように
earlier he had said, try to make your right shoulder forward in front of the left shoulder, huh? Remember that?
それと
A lot of people, we get the question, oh, my body's like this, why is that? So if you notice his angle, watch the angle of his shoulders, okay? So his right was kind of lower than left. Okay, try that. Right's lower than left.
この回る中であんまりこっちが
Yeah, if you're right, for him, if his right shoulder is high when he's turning, then you end up like that. Elbow is high, shoulder is high. His, try to remember, is shoulder down and this way when he's going to serenade.
だから自分の場合低く小さく入るから
And remember, he's trying to go low and small. So when he's rotating, you can see his right shoulder coming down like that. You see that? And then coming small.
これがこっち側だ
Yeah, so this last one, you see the right elbow is up, right shoulder is up, and then like this, right?
もう
This
こ
kind
っ
of
ちが
rotation.
上がることがないように
So try not to make your right shoulder up. Don't try to let that raise. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, he teaches seoinage, or he does seoinage, where his body is straight up and down, not the way a lot of people teach seoinage. And his knees are like that. So if you watch him do seoinage, his particular seoinage is not where it's riding on the head. Anyway, those are the 2 points: the left hand and the rotation of the right. Okay, try to remember. Let's try that again with the partner. Of the training and how he does it. So he does a lot of the regular uchikomi, but also he does uchikomi by himself. So he's going to show you the drills that he does for practicing his seoinage.
それも自分のこのラインの上にしたら相手がこっちの
So he's thinking, if he's on this line of the tatami, his opponent's on that line of the tatami. So before we go on, just remember what I said about the distance, right? Yeah, because you see the thinking of this most of us thinking the kid's gripping, then they're right there, about halfway out. But he's thinking now they're over there. Okay?
最初は、まあ、3でこれ、ちゃんとこのライン上にまっすぐに。
So he wants to come across to the other side, the line on the other side. So that's the distance he's covering.
ここに相手が立ってるとしたら、この辺一歩は、このは自分が回るこの辺に、まず正確にまっすぐ。
So he tried to get this position where he can step, in front of the opponent, where he has some space. And if you're stepping too close, you don't have the space to rotate. So stepping in front where you have the space to rotate, then to turn so that you then placing your feet on the other side. So for kids, if you get them to do this kind of practice slowly so that they can get the proper form. Yeah.
How many times a day does he do that?
これは練習終わると、やらされてるし。
After practice,
一応それな
after practice, when he was
Do I?
training,
Yeah.
after practice, he was made to do 100 every day.
Is he still in competition?
That's a company secret. But some of us accept bribe.
これだったら、それが相手がいなくて、自分も一人でやるから、ちょっと肩を。
Even you don't have partner, he's saying, even though you don't have partner, you can practice. And then the point he tried to remember is you can see his hand motion is very big, and his shoulder rotation. Look at the hand motion and the shoulder rotation. And of course, feet position. From a training perspective, we need to get the kids to do the feet work first. Because the feet representation in the brain is smaller than hands, so it's harder to train the feet. So we have to train the feet first, then hands second, I think. But they're not going to do this all at one time, right? It looks like So his left, way up there, turning the hand so that you can see the wrist, this inside of your hand. So try not to pulling with your whole body so your body doesn't rotate, just with your hand, just like that. Yes, and right, try to do the flick. And then he tried to remember all the time, come out and then gripping the right bottom three fingers this way. This way. Okay, so the points you trying to make, footwork, of course, number one, left hand up without using the body, and right hand flick and in with the right bottom three fingers. Yeah, so at the end of the throw, he wants his shoulder, elbow in front of his body. You see that? Front of his body. Not back, front. He tried to bring his shoulder forward. Any? He doesn't try to put it up and lift. No, he doesn't do that. He's rotating and wrapping down so that they're coming this way. Yeah. He doesn't come down. He's not coming up on me. He's bringing like this.
So it's
More like coming to the elbows, opponent's side. Okay, so yeah. A little bit different.
入り方は一緒なんですけど、例えばこれ相手がこういう喧嘩でこういう時に普通に入ったら。
Yeah, when of course when the opponent is in the left against right, and you do your right against right entry, you're going to be missing, right? The direction is off, and you're missing.
こういう時でも。
Then you end up like that. Her left knee is naturally blocking the throw.
やっぱりその自分らでもこういうそのちょっと変形横向く選手に背負い投げ入るっていうのはなかなか難しくて。
So when he plays people like this, it's difficult to go attack with 背負い投げ.
一つは追う足技で内刈りで正面を向かしてから。
So what he tried to do, of course, is to attack that leg, kochigari or nuisance attack even, to let them draw back so that they spread out, square out to him.
相手を足技で自分の正面に向かせる。
So using any foot technique so that this person squares out in relation to him.
左のそれと、あとは自分がよく使う背負い投げなんですけど、上から組んだ時に。
So now the one we just did doing the combination is most people knows that kind of thing. This one is kind of special for his seoinagi, where he's right and left, but his right, which is his tsurite, is on top, creeping on top. Everybody see that?
それで相手の釣り手と一緒に。
So he wants to drag his opponent's tsurite into the throw by pushing in against the elbow. So they're locking this way. And then the direction of the throw is her front now, not his back. Okay, wherever she's this way, her front. So he's going to come in, and the direction that he's going is her front this side.
この時一番大事なのも相手の。
Yeah, and then of course this throw depends upon his ability to break into this elbow on this side, crunching that elbow down that side, and breaking the balance like that.
相手の。
And then jamming, now you see on this side, jamming her hands like this.
この時は本当にちゃんと入りきらなくてもここは決まっていれば。
So he's saying, when he does this technique, his body doesn't have to be completely in. As long as controlling this area right here. See, his body doesn't have to be all the way in.
ここは決まったら。
As long as hands control, then he can bring her down like this. Okay. So once more from outside, everybody can see the action. So interesting kind of showing up. So of course, it's difficult for many of us to do this seoinagi, but if you can do the motion and learn some point so that we can try to give a pointer to people who are more flexible than us, maybe you can learn it. But why don't you try that?
も下がりながらじゃなくて前に出ながら。
So his point is to not be retreating, to always be putting pressure.